My partner left me, so I told everyone he doesn't have cancer. Plus update. Original post. My partner told me when we first got together that he has cancer, and if his operation doesn't go well, it could be terminal. He said his treatments have also made him infertile, so imagine our shock and joy when we found out I was expecting at the start of 2024. We now have a beautiful 5-month-old daughter who is perfectly healthy and thriving, and he is in remission. My pregnancy was difficult and lonely because of all the intense treatments he went through while waiting for his operation. I did a lot on my own, knowing he desperately needed this to have the best chance possible of shrinking his tumor before having it removed so we can have a long, happy life together as a family. He is currently living with his mom while he is in recovery, so that it takes the pressure off me caring for both him and our baby until he is well enough to move into our new home with us. He still comes to our house, and we go to his mom's all the time so our baby isn't missing him. On Wednesdays, he has his daddy-daughter days where it is just the two of them to make sure they are bonding well, and he has the practice until he is well enough to care for her at home full-time and give me a little break too. Last week, we had an attempted break-in at the house. I asked him to come over and stay here while I'm waiting for the locks to be changed because I'm scared, but he wouldn't. I was talking to his mom too, who slipped up telling me he wasn't home. Long story short, this is Reddit. I'm sure you can see where this is going. We argued for over 24 hours before my suspicions became too much, and I went to Facebook. It took me less than an hour to find the first two women. During my pregnancy, I was suspicious of a lot of things and put it all down to my hormones, as he would continuously tell me that I am paranoid and hurting him when I ask. One thing my paranoia just wouldn't let up about was his cancer and his treatments. I asked his mom about it, who told me he doesn't have cancer, but he is having treatments. He has an autoimmune disease for which he receives transfusions. Very serious but nowhere near terminal, and no operations required. She also informed me he was in rehab, not the hospital. He was addicted to cocaine and was trying to recover for me and our baby. I never mentioned to him that I knew. I assumed it was the embarrassment of wanting to get clean without me knowing, so he could be a good partner and dad. I was so proud of him for getting that help that I never spoke about it. With his autoimmune disease, his mom explained how brutal it has been for him and that he did have chemo a few years back, so maybe that's why he's confused. Pregnancy brain is a real thing, or maybe I'm just too blindly in love because I accepted this and never questioned it again. After discovering the first two women, I sent my partner a message telling him to let his girlfriend know I'm asking after her and not to bother coming home anymore. I've had the locks changed from the break-in, so he can't get in. He panicked and started begging me to answer the phone and let him come see me so he could explain everything. I started to see everything through clear eyes for the first time and realized how long he had been gaslighting me for and told him no. Realizing he couldn't get through to me and now aware I was trying to contact his girlfriend, he panicked and went to her instead. During that time, I found a photo she had shared of the two of them and shared it to my profile with the caption, "Can someone please ask this woman to contact me?" She instantly blocked me, but her sister got in touch with me instead. Apparently, the family has never trusted him and knew something was wrong. This affair is serious enough to have met the family. She says he has told her not to speak to me, as I'm a deranged stalker he slept with once years ago and have been hunting him down trying to convince people my baby is his. I sent her a photo of the birth certificate and us in the hospital together to show her sister before he can lie to her anymore. During this, I am also messaging another woman who is furious at what he has done and is helping me with all the information she is aware of. She tells me he broke her heart by cheating on her, without even knowing he was cheating on me too. So far, I have the current timeline. Chemo in March, a 19-year-old. Rehab in April to July, a woman of an appropriate age this time, but also cheating on her. August to now, his 20-year-old girlfriend. I then find out his emergency cancer medication that he had to leave for in the middle of labor was actually the fact my 2 failed epidurals, screaming in agony, begging the doctors to help because I thought I was dying while the emergency team rushed in to place extra monitors on our baby in distress was actually just a huge turn-on for him. So he needed to go sleep with a 20-year-old before making it back, just in time to kiss me before I went into emergency surgery. This was Sunday. It is now Saturday the following week. I made a post on Facebook calling out my partner for his actions, with photographs, medical notes, and evidence, and asking people to leave me alone on Tuesday after 48 hours of no sleep, multiple calls to the crisis team, and a barrage of harassment from his friends and family who want to sue me for character defamation. If this was a regular affair, I'd lick my wounds and move on. But I have now learned I have been leaving my daughter alone with a drug addict who is claiming he doesn't know me or his daughter to others, but demanding custody rights to me. Tens of women have now come forward who have also dated him during our relationship with no idea of me or each other. This is obviously really upsetting, but what upsets me the most is that I begin to notice a very worrying pattern. He has told every single one of these women that he has cancer and can't get them pregnant. I mentioned that my labor and delivery were difficult. I was induced due to an infection. My GP informed me that I had an STI. Although I understood, took the treatment, and was induced, my pregnancy brain never accepted it as an STI until I revisited my hospital discharge notes this week, where it was clearly stated, sensitive, partner STI. He has been telling women that he has cancer and can't get them pregnant, so they don't need protection. This led to an STI that almost killed me and his daughter during labor. He wasn't even there with us because he was with a young woman who also believes he has cancer. I decided to inform everyone that he does not have cancer by sharing a screenshot of his mom's messages. I reached out to all the women he has been with to ensure they take pregnancy and STI tests, as well as to his friends, whom he has been deceiving for years about his condition, and also to social services and the police for sexual endangerment. My daughter and I now have safeguarding measures in place from a local organization for women leaving abusive relationships. I feel very safe revealing the truth about him and ensuring all his partners are safe and informed, given that he failed to uphold his legal obligation of declaring an STI. I guess his postpartum girlfriend will do it for him. I have also been contacted by many of his old friends, ex-band members, and ex-partners who have all provided testimonies for the police and as backup in case his mother tries to sue me. This man has been lying and manipulating women for over 9 years. So far, everyone is now aware of his lies, and I am waiting for my in-person meeting with the police. I can't imagine any updates from here, as it will likely be a legal battle that probably can't be shared. But if anything else of interest arises, I will make sure to write about it. Oh, also, my partner is a primary school teacher. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. The plot twist at the end. Holy moly. I know, right? A teacher? Jesus, where are his morals? Also, nobody reported him? It's come to light this week that his ex-partners have been reporting him for years to no avail. His mother is on the school board, and her best friend is his head teacher. I'm hoping with the added element of social services this time, and an investigation into child endangerment for our daughter, they can't sweep it under the carpet any longer. Make it public. Make sure parents know and that the head of the school board has been protecting him. Sadly, I think parents are aware and not receiving help from the school in this situation. One woman he dated during the summer and she realized who he was when she went to drop her child off at school in September. She's been updating me to let me know that he wasn't seen in school for multiple days. After my health visitors and social worker began the reports on Monday, but he was back in half a day Friday. He's a serial adulterer. He spreads STIs. He lies about having cancer. He's a primary school teacher and he's in a band? Was in a band. I've just found out this week that he wasn't kicked out in 2019 for having cancer like he'd told me, but kicked out in 2018 when his abusive behavior towards women was exposed and they cut all ties with him, except one band member who didn't believe it and never mentioned anything about it to me or gave me the heads up. Now for the update. I have spoken to the police this morning. There is nothing they can do unless they find the drugs on his person in the school, so nothing is stopping him from snorting a line before he starts work, as long as he takes nothing else with him. They've implied the loophole is that they catch him behind the wheel, and if someone reported him driving on drugs, they could catch him that way. They said they can confirm that multiple reports and investigations have begun before even my report, so they are unable to share much information with me, even though the case involves me. However, they told me it is imperative I apply for Claire's Law and have helped me with the application. It can take up to 10 days for my in-person meeting to provide my documents, and then it can take several weeks for the information to be shared with me. Knowing what I do already, I feel sick that they have told me how important it is for me to make this application. I can't believe in a few weeks he's going to disgust me even further when I receive his police records. My only silver lining is that once I have the police reports on top of my medical reports, he doesn't stand a chance in family court. And my girl and I will be free to restart our lives together. Also, another little note, I've been looking for family court advice in a mom's support group and have been informed that, luckily, she's only 5 months old, and any name changes can be made before 6 months with only one parent's consent, and the witnesses don't need to be his choice. So I will be removing his surname and his grand's name from her middle name for her to take my surname and not have any more ties to his family. I just wanted to put an apology in here as well, as a lot of people have commented on my poor writing. I am a new mom who was lacking sleep even before any of this came to light. Everything I've written has basically been just a big vent from me. I apologize if it's been difficult to read. You should also look into the Offenses Against the Person Act 1861. If he knew he had an STI and spread it to you and others by telling you all not to use any kind of protection, that may be illegal. In the UK, knowingly spreading an STI can be considered a criminal offense, particularly in the case of HIV, where you can be prosecuted for recklessly transmitting the virus to another person, potentially facing a prison sentence if found guilty. However, prosecutions are relatively rare and usually only occur when there is clear evidence of intentional transmission or high-risk behavior without disclosure of the infection. My health visitor made the exact same point. She said she would look into it for me and make the report on my behalf, as she has a legal obligation to report everything I said anyway. My worry is that when speaking to the police today, they said that without physical evidence, they can't really do much. Even if multiple women come forward with the exact same claim, it's still hearsay and can't be pursued. I've checked all my past messages and can't find anything in writing from him that can be used. Last story. Update. My boyfriend 24 male threatened to break up over Miss Dior and now won't talk to me 22 female because I laughed. Original post. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 2 years now. Aside from some small bumps in the road, we have been in a very good place throughout the whole relationship. However, last night, things escalated over, in my opinion, something super dumb. But he thinks differently, and now he has stopped talking to me. It started when we were in bed. He was gaming, and I was on my laptop looking to order a new perfume. Since I stopped my job to focus on studying, I don't have as much income, so I decided not to get the expensive perfume I usually go for, Miss Dior. I thought it would be better to find a body spray with a similar scent. As he was looking over my shoulder, he asked me what I was doing, so I explained. He then reacted by saying that I wore Miss Dior in the early period of our relationship and that it is my smell, adding that it was one of the things that attracted him to me. I must admit this annoyed me a bit because I'd rather get that perfume too, but it's just not responsible to do so right now. He started rambling about how I care more about saving money than I care about him. I said that's not true, but he kept insisting that his hypersensitivity issues couldn't deal with adjusting to a new scent. I told him I'd find a scent similar to my old one, but he wasn't content. At this point, he said he'd have to break up with me if I chose another scent. I found this hilarious and thought he surely must be joking, so I laughed, which made him go silent. I let him be because I was really annoyed, and we went to sleep. Now he left early in the morning and hasn't responded to my texts or calls. I have no idea what to do, and I'm starting to doubt how I handled the situation. Any advice? Now for the top advice before reading the updates. I'm concerned that you are even asking this question. This boyfriend of yours tried to assert that you must stick with the Dior perfume and never once offered to buy it? What is wrong with him? In any case, his reaction to your perfume choice is very strange. What are you asking us if you did something wrong? For real, if he liked it that much, saw money was tight for her, why not just get it for her? That's what my boyfriend would do, and he doesn't even really like perfume. This is the solution. If it matters that much to you, I assume that means you will start buying it for me? Thanks in advance. Lol, threatening to end the relationship because you don't stick to the brand of perfume he likes? Say that aloud. He is holding the relationship hostage because you didn't smell a certain way. Yeah, definitely take him up on his offer. Easy way to get away from such an a-hole. Now for the update. Wow, first of all, thank you to everyone who gave me advice and some tough love. I did not expect so many of you to help me, and I definitely teared up at some of your replies. After I posted this, I was a bit of a mess, but after hours of ignoring me, he texted me late in the evening and asked me to meet up because he didn't want us to be in a bad place. I really wanted to talk to him, at least to clear things up, so I went to his place. When I got there, he still seemed a bit disappointed, but he did say he didn't want us to fight. I felt the same but also took your advice to heart, the idea of letting him buy a bottle. For some context, I do think he might be on the spectrum. No diagnosis, but his dad is, and it would make sense. So I did want to show him that I care and take his hypersensitivity seriously. Therefore, I suggested we split the cost of a new bottle of Miss Dior, and then, until that one was finished, I'd make sure to do research to find a really good dupe. He wasn't convinced and told me, "It's not your birthday anytime soon." I explained that I understood, but we both needed to compromise. Well, to quote his literal words, "If you're such a feminist, you should be financially too." That got me fuming. I had no words, so this time I left. Following your advice, I did some thinking about the rest of our relationship. I realized that other things in our relationship that didn't sit quite right with me at the time were actually situations where he was being controlling and self-centered. I had always brushed them off as little things he didn't mean that way or would eventually learn from. I was wrong, you were right. I asked him to meet up today, and I dumped him. I feel terrible right now, but I know I'm better off. So, anyone have advice for a cheap, nice body spray? That was a difficult decision, but the right one. I don't know where you live, but in the UK/Ireland, Aldi does a great Miss Dior dupe on occasion. It's called Perfect Pink. We do have an Aldi here, so I'm going to check it out. Thank you. Jesus, so he demands it and hinges your relationship on it, but won't buy it for you when you aren't financially able? Real winner, this guy. Good for you. He sounded unreasonable. I would have said that he should pay the difference between the perfume you would have bought and the perfume he wanted you to buy. But his comments are so out of line, it's not even worth thinking about anymore. I didn't even think about this. It would have been a good reaction. But since he thinks I have to pay everything because I'm a feminist, I don't think he would have been okay with that either. I'm so tired of people weaponizing feminism. Good riddance. I always found it very hard to be mad at him for long, but when he said this, I felt like he showed his true colors. And I was so done.